what Bart writes about this. The Justice Department and the FBI are chasing down the foot soldiers of January 6th, but there's no public sign that they're try again. An unpunished plot is practice for the next.
Yeah, Bannon is as close as we've gotten to really the control center of this. But Rudy Giuliani certainly is there. Sidney Powell is certainly there. The other people that were in the Willard Hotel room are certainly there. And then at the end of the day, you've got the Trump kids and Trump. And, you know, it was interesting that Meadows got so upset because they had the nerve to subpoena his phone records. Well, that should be expected when a group of people are encouraged to march on the Capitol to reverse a free and fair election. And by the way, fraud-free, according to Donald Trump's own administration. So it is going to be a big problem for, I mean, one thing our country's always had, Nicole, is faith in the rule of law. We've always known it was frayed around the edges. We've always known that the justice was not applied equally, depending on who you were and where you lived and how much money you had. But ultimately, we thought when somebody did something really bad would happen to them. Instead, this guy's sitting at his golf resort picking out his cabinet secretaries for his next administration.
This reporting really does cover everything, and it does not ignore anything, and that includes the racist element of the insurrectionist sort of motivation and incentive structure. I want to read this. In polls analyzed for this piece, one statement earned overwhelming support among the 21 million committed insurrectionists. Almost two-thirds of them agreed that, quote, African-American people or Hispanic people in our country will eventually have more rights than whites. Slicing the data the other way, respondents who believed in the Great Replacement theory, regardless of their views on anything else, were nearly 4 times as likely as those who did not support the violent removal of the president. That led experts to realize that they were genuinely dangerous. There were not many militia members among them, but more than 1 in 4 said the country needed groups like the Oath Keepers and Proud Boys. 1/3 of them owned guns and 15% had served in the military. All had easy access to the organizing power of the internet. This is not Michael Steele, a politician who can be defeated. He was defeated. And not only did he not go away, but as Bart reports out meticulously, he's in a much stronger position today than he was in November of 2020. What does the country do now?
I think the country has to come to grips with the reality that Bart and his incredible reporting has put in front of them. Look, this is a journey we've been on for a number of years now. This isn't something that we just woke up in 2017 and realized, oh, okay, we're in a new space. This has been something that we've been battling against for quite some time. But the difference is that we had men and women inside and outside of Congress, particularly in Congress, who understood what that battle was, Nicole, and they leaned into it. Now you have men and women in Congress who are full participants in the deconstruction, in the destruction, in the undermining, in the uplifting of the narrative, who give, you know, that salute to the Proud Boys, right? So that's the new reality that the country has to come to grips with. There are a couple of ways to look at the first 15 minutes of this conversation. And that is, one, you take to heart what Bart has laid out in front of you, both in the media and in the public, because these are the two players that are going to determine what happens next. At the end of the day, how you tell this story, not in the future, but right now, not worried about how history is going to reposition the players on the chessboard, but in fact, acknowledging where those players are and what those players are doing and reporting honestly about that and calling out the crap that is filling the airwaves and the sinews of our public discourse. And the people of this country asking themselves honestly, do you want more of this? Because you're about to put men and women in charge in the United States Congress in 2022 who will give you that with a ugly cherry on top. If you think you don't like a Nancy Pelosi as Speaker, wait till you embrace Kevin McCarthy, or better yet, Jim Jordan, who is likely more in line to be the Speaker than McCarthy. What do you think Jim Jordan is going to bring to the governance of this country? What do you think that does for a Senate under McConnell's control? All of these questions become important questions for the country to ask when each of those leaders that I've referenced have not distanced themselves from Donald Trump, Nicole. They've leaned into him. And as it was just said, he's sitting in Mar-a-Lago filling out his cabinet form for the next election. He's not worried about anything that we're talking about, because Donald Trump has always believed, I'm going to do it until you stop me. And no one has stopped him. And that's why we are where we are. And it's going to be up to those two players, the press and the people, to decide just how much more of this crap we're going to tolerate. We're going to take this country and we're going to move it forward. We're going to move off this Proud Boy nonsense and recognize the racism that is driving a lot of this. Or we're going to lean into it with these other sycophantic leaders who have no game between them to figure out how to extricate themselves. They buy into it. They sell the country out because there's a good grift on the back end. Heck, I could become, maybe the chief operating officer of Trump's new media platform, working with Devin Nunes. This is the mindset that we're up against.